everyone, my name is Presley and this is PezKnits. I'm really not sure what episode we're up to now. I've kind of changed the setup for those who have seen me around here before. I'm like facing the window, like my balcony window, so now all the sun is like on my face and I'm like, why wasn't I not doing this whole time? And now you're not seeing my dinner table, which is like always cluttered and dirty. And instead you're seeing this nice white wall. So hopefully this is a nice change. We'll test it out today and see what happens. Yeah, so my name is Presley for those who are here for the first time. These are my monthly roundup videos that I use to kind of show what I've been working on in my knitting, crafting, crocheting world. I've got a lot to show you today. I hope you're well. I'm gonna start with finished objects today. My first one is what I'm wearing. You can't currently see it. I don't know how I can show you without it being really awkward, but let me rearrange them. I finished. I'm so sorry. I don't know how else to show you. And now you see my sweatpants. Anyway, these are my socks. I'm so sorry. I don't know how else to show you. There they are. Yeah, so cute as. They're a bit wonky because I'm twisting around trying to show you what they look like. Yeah, so they are my favorite vanilla sock, and I'll put the designer on the screen. Yeah, I just finished them off. It's been a while. I think they were on my needles for like literally 2 months. I have no reason to say why it took so long. I think I just kept getting distracted and I only just finished them. I'm pretty happy with them. Are they a touch big? Probably. I always tend to make socks too big. Like like it looks fine, but I feel like if it was more fitted, it would like sit on my foot a little bit better. But I wore them with like Birkenstocks today and they were really nice, so I'm really happy. Yeah, and now I got a second finished object. Can you believe it? I don't think I've ever had 2 finished objects to show you in one episode, so I'm pretty proud. Ta-da! So this is my, oh no, Granny Goes Large. The pattern is called Granny Goes Large. I'll put the designer on screen. Yeah, and I finished this. I was using 2 Karen cakes and I was just alternating the stripes. I had one like mainly blue gradient one, and then I had like a brown and like tan yellow one. And so I alternated the colors and it got me this. I'm happy with it. Like, I think it looks really good. It's just like came out a little bit small. I haven't blocked it. I don't know, like, because it's acrylic and I'm like, what is that gonna do? But like the edges are like curled, so I think that would help with it. But I don't know how much bigger it would get, because to me the size is like not a blanket. It could be like a lap blanket. When I put it on my lap, it like covers, it doesn't cover my ankles. So what I'm thinking, I know I just said this is a finished object. Technically it's finished right now, but what I'm thinking is that I buy another Karen cake. I don't know what color. And then I would fill out the sides to make it a rectangle, because right now it's a perfect square because the pattern is just like a really large granny square. But then I was thinking if I just build it up on the sides, so I get a Karen cake, cut it into 2 balls, and then crochet one side here and then crochet the other side here, and then it would turn into a rectangle, and then at least it would be slightly longer so it would cover up like my ankles, and it could be more like a throw and not like a lap blanket. But yeah, I'm like really happy at what it looks like. Like my first finished crochet project. Isn't that crazy? I think I did pretty good. I'm really happy with it. I'll probably be like, depending how it looks like. I've been thinking, I was like crocheting and I was like, oh, this is like really nice. But like I already have like a blanket, like this is my knitted one. I was like, maybe I should give this to a relative. I don't know. I wouldn't consider this done, but it's finished. It was finished, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, maybe this isn't big enough. Anyway, I'm still counting it. I'm still counting it as finished. Oh, and here's the back. I weaved in all the edges, but like, you know, when you're doing granny square, like you just tuck the ends and then do your 3 double crochets or your trebles or whatever. over those over the ends, and so I did that, so that really helps, because then I didn't have to like weave in so much because it was already tucked into each one of the stitches. Okay, oh my god, it's like hot. It's hot. The weather in Sydney has been crazy. Like, it's been freezing, hailing, super sunny, super hot. Like, it doesn't want to decide what to do. So I'll move on to whips. And let me just preface in saying, like, I feel like I went from like knitting one thing at a time to like spreading my attention across multiple projects, and I feel like I enjoy it a lot more, especially now that I've gotten into crochet. It's like another craft that I can just do if I don't feel like knitting, and I thought I would never say that, but it's quite enjoyable. Like, if I've been knitting for a while, I go, oh well, you know, when I'm sitting in front of the TV, I'll just pick up my crochet project and I'll do it. Like, I find it really good. Like, I'm really enjoying the process. Anyway, so that's me saying I have a lot of whips to show. That's me telling you I've got a lot of whips to show. I don't even know where to start. I think I've got my big pile here, which is why I'm like reaching over and doing crazy stuff. So I just showed you a pair of socks that I finished, and now I'm going to show you a pair of socks that I casted on, because I'm a crazy person and like I can't not have socks like at the ready. They're just such a convenient little project to bring along to like things. And when I'm at my desk, like when I'm working, it's just like a little small thing I can boom, 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 and a lot of the parts of it is just straight like knitting, until you get like down to the foot, like to the heel and things like that. But anyway, so here is a sock that it's kind of finished. So this is, oh my goodness, I forgot what the pattern is called. I'll put it on screen. It's really good. It's really good. I really like this sock pattern. A couple of things. You think like, how many types of socks are there? But I've knitted a different sock. What number sock is this? I feel like it's like my 4th or 5th sock pattern. And like, no, I think that's exaggerating. Pattern. I think maybe my 3rd or 4th sock pattern, I would say. And this one's really good. So it's a ribbed sock. It's ribbed from like the leg and also the top of the foot. And I feel like that really helps with fit. And I did the smallest size because, again, as I said before with the socks I just finished, I tend to make them too big. And I'm like, okay, let's make them smaller. If it's too small, like whatever. Like, it usually takes me, if I just focused on these socks, I'd probably finish it in 2 weeks, you know? So it's not that much effort if I had to start again. But I finished the first sock in an extra small, and it's really good. However, when I tried this on, I don't have sock blockers. Maybe I should buy some, because I feel like this is slightly too small, but if it was blocked properly with sock blockers, I think it'd be the perfect size. So maybe I should invest in that. Anyway, some of the reasons why I like this sock is ribbed. It's a 1x3 rib, which is really interesting. And in the pattern note, she actually said it's for people who don't like to do a 1x1 rib. So she made it a 3x1 rib, so you're knitting more than you're purling. And I definitely felt that. Like, it made it a more enjoyable process to go all the way down the leg of the sock. And also, the heel turn was really interesting. It was something like, I can't even explain it. It was just different. And I found that it's like way more structured than some of the other socks that do you see what I mean? It like almost stands up by itself. Do you see what I'm talking about? Like, so it seems to have a lot of structure to it. And the toe is like, I've never done this. There's no like Kitchener stitch or anything. It's just you're decreasing. And then at the end, it's almost like a beanie. You know when you finish the top of the beanie, you just keep decreasing. And then you put the thread and tie it off with the rest of the stitches. That's what the pattern calls for, which I'm going to do. But I don't have DPNs that are this small. I'm knitting this with a 2.5mm needle. But I do have 2.75mm DPNs. So I'm just going to, like, as you can see, I didn't have them on me. I actually took this somewhere and I didn't have the DPNs on me. So I just used stitch markers to hold the live stitches. Isn't that funny? That's survival instincts right there. Because then I realized, I was like, oh no, I have nothing to like hold them while I start the next sock. So I used the stitch markers. It's just so funny. But yeah, it's like a touch short. And I'm like, oh, If I get sock blockers, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna buy sock blockers because I feel like it'd be perfect. It'd be perfect. And this is also this is from Lily and Maud, like the actual yarn. It's from Lily and Maud, and it's their women's. Oh my god, what's it called? Women's Day, like women's. You know what I mean? That day for women. The Women's Day color scheme is beautiful. It almost reminds me of like a purple zebra print. Like especially down the actual foot, it looks like a zebra print. And so I finished that one, and then as soon as I finished that one, I started on the second sock, and I'm just going down the leg. So I'm really excited about those. And it's also exciting because the leg is quite long. I'm not used to having socks that are like have a super long leg because I get impatient. That's my problem. I get impatient and I only do like a sock that's maybe like this long. But this was really easy because it was a 3x1 rib, so it like held my attention. So that's my first whip. Very exciting. My second whip, we'll go with the crochet. I'll try and like alternate them. These are my granny squares I've been working on. I'll put a picture of all of them on the floor. It really feels, when they're in the bag, it feels like, I'm like, oh my god, I've made so many. And then I lay them out to see what it would look like as a blanket, and it's like this big. The blanket is like this big. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I feel like this is going to be a whip for a long time. But as you can see, there's lots of ends that have not been weaved in or anything. But I've been really enjoying that. Super quick, easy thing to do. You just sit on the sofa and finish one square in like 20 minutes, and then you start on the next one. Like, it's pretty addictive. And I'm using a lot of like a leftover acrylic yarn and like bits and pieces that I have just laying around, which is really fun because like the middle part really does not require a lot of yarn. So I can just use up all the little weird like bits and pieces that I have and just turn it into a center of a square, and then I do the rest of it. It's really good. This isn't a particular pattern. I'm trying to remember to put the YouTube video I use to make these squares, because this was when I was first starting to learn crochet. I just made these squares. I'll put that tutorial in the description because that was really helpful. That was like a turning point for me. I was like, oh, that was really helpful. So yes, another blanket to work on. I'll move on to my next one. This is like a silly one. My mitered square blanket. So I added 2 squares. Yes, I added 2 squares to this. I was gonna add a third one, but I couldn't find the needles. Like, I've lost them. It's so annoying. I need to go and find them. But I added these 2 squares. As you can see, I added some of the sock yarn from the socks I just finished onto the blanket. And also, this is a mini skein that I got from the Winter Yarn Festival that I went to last month. It's coming out very light in the camera, but it's like a really bright fluoro, like minty green. And that's coming along. I'm like, this will probably be done when like my children are going to inherit their inheritance. Like, this will be a part of their inheritance. It will be done. Someone will enjoy it. It probably won't be me, but I'm enjoying making it, but I probably won't live to see it being used probably. I don't know if that's morbid, but like, because I'm just like adding bits of yarn, like nice sock yarn that I have, whenever I have it. Like, obviously I'm not gonna, like, I bought that mini skein just for fun. Maybe I should start doing that so it gets done quicker. But I've just been using bits and pieces from like past projects and using it in the blanket, which is fun. Okay, next, whoa, I'll show you this one. So this, I was working on this yesterday. Oh my gosh, it's just a big bowl of, so this is like a baby sweater that I'm working on. I have no babies in my life, so I'm planning on donating it, but it's just coming out so adorable. I'm like not sure if I'm going to be able to part with it. It's just so cute. I'm like, what if I just kept it? I'm gonna have babies one day. Like, it will be worn. I don't know. So this is the Mindless sweater. The Mindless sweater by, I think it's Mindless Knits. So cute. This is the I think 12 to 24 months. I'm like looking at the camera because I just finished the first sleeve, like yesterday. And I was thinking, it looks so long compared to the body. And I was like fully prepared to like rip out the ribbing and then keeping on knitting for like maybe an inch. But it actually looks fine, hey. I don't know. So I've started the next sleeve. Super cute. And this is just Pattern's Big Baby. I have like the yarn under my table, that's why I'm looking at it. This is Pattern's Big Baby, and this is just some yarn that I picked up from a Vinnie's, from an op shop. And it's beautiful. Like, there you go. Like, do you know what I mean? I like look down on acrylic yarn too much, I think. Like, but look how beautiful this looks. As long as what you're knitting looks good, like who cares what the yarn is? I'm working really hard to get thumbnails. That's probably, if there's so many cuts, it's because I'm just like pausing and trying to get a good shot for the thumbnail. So I apologize for that. Again, this is one of those things where I could finish this, like, I could finish the next arm in like a weekend, but I just like do it on and off whenever I feel like it. Okay, we're coming to, oh no, okay, I'm gonna say that for last. There's a big talking point that I'm going to talk about last, but I'll talk about my last work in progress, which is another blanket. Another blanket. So I'm planning on giving this to someone for Christmas. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know. So here it is. Wow, it looks so like graphic on the camera. Oh, what is this pattern called? I have no idea. It's a baby blanket. And if my regular viewers may recognize that this is the same colors as what I did for my Kai Fella sweater. And that's why I'm using them, because I have a lot of balls left over. I bought too much yarn than what was needed for the actual pattern. And so now I'm making this blanket, which is quite interesting because it's just like going around and around, and it's quite fun. I'm doing like 2 rows of green for every color because I have a lot of this color left over. And this is knit in Wool of the Andes worsted. And like what I'm envisioning is like, I think it could get quite big. We'll see. I have quite a lot of yarn, so I'm planning on it to be like quite a big blanket. And then I want to do like fringe. So it'd be like a circle blanket with fringe on the edges. That's what I'm envisioning. But now that I'm looking at it, doesn't it look like an eyeball? Because it's like, this is the pupil and then this is the iris. I think because it's blue, it makes me think of an eyeball. Or like a target. Like an arrow target. Anyway, so that's fun. That's like one of those things, because it's just like doing double crochet over and over again into each stitch. It's like pretty mindless, which is fun. And I was complaining last month that I felt like I wasn't holding my hook right because my fingers were really hurting. Like when I was like trying to do the tension of like the yarn, my pointer finger was hurting a lot, but it doesn't do that anymore. So I don't know if I've changed something or if my muscles in my fingers have improved or something. I don't know, but I don't have that problem anymore, so I'm not complaining. Okay, and moving on to the final whip. Oh my god. So, this is my Haru V-neck sweater. It's looking bizarre in camera. So, what you had seen last, I think you just saw me finish the second V, and I've done the whole body and the ribbing on the bottom and some of this arm, which I will get to. So some of the changes that I did a, what is it called? Like a twisted rib. I did a twisted rib on the bottom, which is why I think it's a lot tighter. Like you can see it snatches. It like snatches more on the bottom. But when I wear it, it just like, I actually quite like it because I feel like the pattern is like, it's more square, and they use the same size needles for the ribbing on the bottom as for the body, and I didn't want to do that, so I sized down. So I was knitting the body in a 5mm, and then I swapped to 4.5 for the bottom, and it looks funny like looking at it here, but when you have it on, it like just fits on your hips a little bit better. And yeah, so this has been in the naughty corner, and I'll tell you why. Because I knitted the sleeve, And I was meant to use 5mm needles, but I don't have 5mm DPNs or circulars that are short enough to allow like this circumference. And I know you can use those the long ones and then you do some weird thing, but I just hate that. I hate that. I just want circulars that are the right length for the circumference that I'm knitting, and I don't have DPNs. Anyway, so I've been using my 4.75mm needles. I'm like, close enough, whatever. So it's my fault. It's not the pattern, it's my fault, because I'm like ad-libbing on the pattern when I shouldn't be, like improvising. I should be listening to the pattern. So I was worried about the armhole being too small. This is just some weird paranoia that I have. I've never knitted an armhole too small. It's never happened to me before. But for some reason, it's like my worst fear is like knitting an armhole that's too tight. And so I casted on like the second largest amount of sleeve stitches in the pattern. And I was like, this'll make sure, you know? And I was like, oh, and there's decreases, and I'm using smaller needles than what the pattern calls for, so I think it should even out. However, I got up to this, which is, I can't remember how many decreases I did. I think I did all of the decreases, actually. No, that can't be right. I did some of the decreases, and I was like, okay, let me try it on. And I tried it on, and like the sleeve was so big that when I put my arm down, all of this excess fabric was like bagging out from under my arm. And I was like, oh no. I was like, that's awful. It looked okay from the front, but as soon as I turned around with my arm down, it like had all of this fabric just like bulging out from under my armpit. And I was like, look, this yarn is so beautiful. Like, I can't do, like, I have to do this sweater justice. Like, I can't just keep on going and then having a sweater that I don't like, and I don't like how the sleeves look. So I'm planning on unraveling this entire sleeve, and I'll probably cast on. I'll see how I go. I'll see what the actual number of stitches look like, because I'm making the smallest size. This is the smallest size. I'll cast on the amount of stitches that the size calls for, like eyeball it, and then if it seems too small, then I'll do one size up instead of the 4 sizes up that I did. I don't know what I was thinking. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. It's honestly my fault. And it's so funny because this was the last amount that I had left. I had bought 4 skeins of this yarn. Hang on, let me go get it. I had bought 4 skeins of this yarn originally. I bought it from the Quilt and Craft Fair. And this is Chardyglen Designs. And this is in their colorway, Some Like It Hot. And then I realized I was going to run out of yarn. And it's probably because I knitted ginormous sleeves that were not needed. Anyway, even if I made the sleeve smaller, I definitely wouldn't have enough for the rest of the sweater. So I looked up Chardyglen Designs on their website, and I was praying that they had this colorway available, and they didn't. And I was like, oh, of course, I'm so dumb. But it's kind of funny because I sold her out. That was all the yarn she had in this colorway, so I couldn't have bought more in the moment, even if I wanted to. And so then I contacted her, and I was like, hi, I'm knitting a sweater in this colorway, and I noticed you don't have it in stock. How can I be notified when it's in stock, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, I can just dye it for you. Tell me how many you need. And then I was like, oh, really? I was like, that's so nice. Thank you so much. And I still think it's nice. I'm asking, she's dyeing the yarn, on order for me. So I felt really special. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then I was like, oh, can I get 2? Which is these 2 here. Hopefully this will be enough. I don't trust myself anymore. Well, I'll just email her again if I run out again. And then she sent me the picture of them and was like, are these fine? I'm like, yeah, of course they're fine. And then she sent them to me, and it was fantastic. Yeah. But let me tell you, this is the most expensive sweater I've ever made. Like, that's why I'm like, I gotta redo the sleeve. You know what I'm talking about? I did not spend this much money on this yarn to make a sweater with like bat wing sleeves on it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I don't know, like, it's not even like that hard because it's like, I picked these stitches up. So these aren't even live stitches on the arm. So I would just literally have to unravel it and it is no problem and then just start again. But just the mental toll. The mental toll it has to like unravel it and start all over again is too great. It's too great. So I've just like been putting it in the naughty corner. I'll definitely start picking it up again like in the coming months. But just like when that happened, I was like, I need to take a break. Wow, this color like pops. It's so beautiful. But what I was worried about actually is that this one here seems a lot more variegated than like my two skeins that she had given. Like, can you see that? It's like a lot more variegated. It's like whatever. And you know how you can alternate skeins and do one row one skein and do it the next row and another skein? I'm like, I'm not doing that. As much as I keep talking about like, oh, it's like so. But like, if it's not that obvious, like I'm not gonna do it. If it was super obvious, I would do it. But I don't think it would be that obvious. It's just like a, you know, a knitter's thing where you can see it, but like no one else can see it. Okay, is that all of it? Is that all of my whips? Because I've got a lot to tell you in terms of like my crafty life. That's so crafty. So I had mentioned last month, I think it was last month, that I was planning on submitting my Kai filler sweater in a needlework competition, and I did that. And it was very exciting. I was really looking forward to seeing it displayed because you submit your work and there's like different categories. There's different categories. And I entered mine in the adult sweater 8-ply and plus, 8-ply and above category. And then they display it and you can see all of them in one go. And then when you walk in, you're able to see what ribbon or what award you got. And yeah, so I filmed a bit of that. So I'll show you that now. I won third, and that was really exciting. And I honestly thought it was justified because I said to my partner, because he was like, you're gonna win. And I'm like, no. I was like, all it takes is one cabled sweater and I'm out. And that's exactly what happened. The other two sweaters, I don't know, I can't remember if the footage was good, but one sweater, which was really nice, it had different cables and like stitches on the front. I was like, oh, that's really pretty. And the one that won first place had like a huge braid that came down. There was like a big braid and then it went along the neckline. It was really pretty. And I was like, okay, justified. And there were 4 sweaters. And so I came third. So it wasn't last place. Okay. It was pretty close, but it's okay. And it's so funny because my mom's friend, she saw my sweater and was like, they look like they stretched out that sweater. I'm so worried about your sweater. It looks so stretched out. And I didn't even think about that. And I was like, oh, it was a little, like, they did stretch it out a little bit. I don't care, like, whatever. But yeah, there were so many beautiful, beautiful entries. The one thing, though, I don't want to talk bad. I don't want to talk bad. I'm not talking bad, but, like, the one who won first, like, best in show was a pair of socks. And of course, I'm spewing because I just showed you, like, I knit socks all the time. And her socks looked exactly like mine, like this. Like, it looked exactly like this. And I'm like, well, now I know what to enter next year. Because then I was, like, trying to see if there was any other socks. And no one else knitted socks. And so I'm like, maybe that's why. Because no one knits socks. I mean, no one enters socks. And so the one person that entered socks got best in show. And I was like, well, gosh, I'm gonna enter my socks next time because I feel like they're pretty decent. And so I made that mental note for me for next year. And it's so funny because last year I entered one of my shawls. It was my Stephen West painting diamond shawl. I'll put a photo here. It's on my Ravelry page. And it won third as well. So I won third place twice in a row. And I'm like, next year I'm gonna at least get second. I gotta like improve a little bit, you know. But those old ladies, they always like totally smash it every year. It drives me crazy. But socks next year, I'm gonna get them with the socks. I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah, that was a whirlwind. I apologize. I hope you enjoyed the last month, and I hope the next month is full of things that you enjoy. Take a moment to subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, and I'll see you next month with all of my new whips. Hopefully not more whips, but more completed whips. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.